All right. Just over the last 2 weeks, I've gotten this question. How should I be budgeting for SEO and geo will in 2026? And how do I hold your company and your team accountable to the success metrics? And that's a pretty basic question. I'm thinking I'm going to be good at answering it. But then when I actually started answering that question, I looked a lot more like this. I spiraled out of control. I started opening up tabs. I started sharing screens my poor clients and prospects because I was trying to show them the complexity of answering the question they just asked given all the changes that are going on. And I really beat myself up over that. And I really wanted to create something that I could go back to them with and say, hey, I've put together a framework here. We all know ChatGPT has grown. That's a given. I also want to remind you that a lot of these websites have grown as well, and that'll be important in a second. But the problem is all the channels that are growing, AI, WhatsApp, all these different channels, Slack, they are actually not trackable, and most of their traffic comes in as direct. Most of my VPs and higher, when I'm chatting with them, the CMOs, were so used to what we could track that then when a new channel comes in, it really messes with us that we can't track it anymore. We remember when Facebook launched, you could get all the individual groups and you could see traffic, you could see conversions, you could get all the search terms, you could see the traffic from those terms and the conversions from those terms. And all that was intel that helped you to better understand the efficacy of your marketing. Today, that's all gotten crunched into two sources. Oh, it's so frustrating. You lose the ability to see what kind of groups, what kinds of content specifically, what kind of words are people using. I think that every CMO or VP of marketing has understood that yes, things aren't as trackable. So maybe you have a budget where 80% of your digital marketing efforts are trackable, 20% aren't. And I'm going to challenge you to say that maybe now we're going to actually have to make that more like 60-40 or 50-50, but that doesn't mean you have to fly completely blind. So the big thing is AI. It's what everybody's asking, right? Geo, generative engine optimization, and AI. And the problem with AI versus search is that your total addressable market hasn't dropped. But all of a sudden, one of your leading indicators, which would have been traffic, which would have been monthly search volume, it might be decreasing like crazy. And you're like, okay, it can decrease, but what's taking its place? If it's AI, then the problem is AI doesn't slough off enough traffic back to your website for those numbers to equal out, and that's causing a lot of agita for my clients. So now we've got all these monthly active users growing on places like WhatsApp and Facebook and LinkedIn and Zoom and Slack. And you're kind of thinking, I can track these things, but the reality is they are not trackable. They are all rolled into direct. Look at my own direct traffic and my own organic search traffic. You can see that my direct has a significantly higher session to contact ratio. Therefore, with the same amount of sessions, I'm getting a lot more throughput for winning on organic social, right? And what I'm going to recommend is that as these reliable data signals are degrading, and we know they all are, what are you going to measure and how are you going to hold an organization and their partners accountable? So the first thing that I would do is I would look at my traffic from organic search against my organic search conversions. Oh my gosh, my traffic is dropping. Ease up. Let's just make sure that the conversions are not dropping with the traffic. But then I started thinking, okay, if people like me are going to say, hey, client, direct is the bundle, then I also owe it to you to show you direct year over year so that you can validate and make sure that most months I'm beating last year's direct numbers. If I'm not, something else might be at play. It might just mean that you have a very algorithmic content strategy and one that doesn't really make people feel like the content was worth a damn to send to their friends. Then you want to overlay your pipeline, your MQLs, whatever number gets closer to the cash register against other metrics and just look at the trends. And I like this offset because if my pipeline is growing and my social is growing at the same rough trajectory, I can start to think, all right, like my direct or my social is going in a similar direction. All right, let me make some investments or some moves there. God forbid if my pipeline is declining and my social is growing, it's like, yeah, dude, we're winning on social, but that stuff is not turning into pipeline. And the last thing I'll share with you here is like this 4 box. It allows me to say, yes, organic search is down from 17,000 visits to 10,000 from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. Yet my AI sessions have only gone up from 100 to 700. So that's 600 sessions increase on AI for a 7,000 decrease in organic search sessions. If you slow down and put in other metrics at the bottom, you can start to say, but wait, I have my organic search leads. They're doing okay. I'm up 2% on my search leads. But then you also get to look at your MQLs against these trends. Now, maybe for you, it's AI sessions. And as AI sessions grow, maybe your MQLs grow. So then I would look at my AI visibility report. But the problem I think with AI visibility reporting is no one that I know is taking visibility against things like direct. This was one of the other reports that I wanted to share with you is you need to have some kind of AI visibility index growth and offset that against something maybe like homepage sessions. If you're like, hey, if my visibility is growing, more people are going to search my brand. They're going to search my brand. They're probably going to end up on my homepage or share links to my homepage. But you're going to want to make sure and hold accountable to your AI visibility going up to having and hitting some of these lead and, dare I say, some of these lag indicators. All right, best of luck trying to come up with your own offsetting metrics. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd be more than happy to put this together and share this with more people. Peace.